Thanks you, good evening everyone. Well, out of all of the clubs up and down the land for whom silverware is an elusive dream, Crystal Palace are England's highest ranked non-trophy winners by historic lead position and average crowd. In short, Palace are the biggest team in England never to have won a trophy. Agonisingly close twice in two dramatic cup finals, only to curse Jesse Lingard and Mark Hughes and famously Lee Martin. Maybe that is what the light show was all about. After all, it was accompanied by Coldplay's I Will Try and Fix You. Inspirational. Everton have a rich history of lifting cups and trophies up into the sky, of parades to celebrate domestic and European success, but it's all a distant dream. No one under 35 remembers their last cup final win. No one under 40 remembers the 80s when the word Everton was often etched on a piece of silverware. Can the fortunes change this season for both Crystal Palace and Everton? Well, they've gone strong with their teams, that is for sure. Just the two changes from Saturday's win over Brentford here for Crystal Palace, and Roy Hodgson. Henderson is their goalkeeper, Klein, Anderson, Gay and Mitchell the back four. Lerma, Richards and Eze in midfield, with França, Mateta and Schlupp in attack. Everton on a bad run, 3 defeats in a row, and have decided to freshen up their side with 3 changes. Virginia is the goalkeeper, his first appearance in Everton colours for nearly 3 years. Coleman plays at right back. It's Branthwaite, Tarkovsky and Mikalenko making up the back four. Harrison, Onana, Garner and McNeil in midfield. Danjuma and Calvert-Lewin in attack. And just to really wind up the Crystal Palace fans, Everton have turned them around. And Crystal Palace, by the way, in a special kit to celebrate the work of their foundation tonight. They are all in royal blue, which is traditionally the Everton colours, with a slash of white and red from left shoulder to right hip, attacking the goal away to our right in the first half, the Holmesdale Road end. And for Crystal Palace, it's that famous Hummel kit the Danish Dynamite used to wear, but in a grey, rather dull colour, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. Leanne Sanderson is the former England international, and she's alongside us in the commentary box. Roy Hodgson and Sean Dyche view this as a free hit or a potential form builder?
Well, they're obviously around each other in the Premier League, 14th and 17th as they currently stand. I think Everton responded really well in the Premier League, but that 10-point deduction, I think of late, they've been leaking goals, so it'll be interesting to see both these sides. We know when the ball's delivered early, they don't defend it the best, so slippery conditions tonight for sure. The rain is absolutely hammering down, and so if I was in this game tonight, you're definitely looking to get lots of shots off early doors.
Roy Hodgson's already standing on the edge of the technical area with his head firmly in the back of his hood. Sean Dyche is well-hard. He's just standing out there in a very slight, very tailored Mac. No headgear required. Keep your eyes peeled as well, because Everton made a fast start the last time these two met. Vitaly Mikalenko scored after just 52 seconds. The ball is on the right with Seamus Coleman, just up over the halfway line into Dwight McNeil, who sends it back towards the big, tall, bulky figure of Tarkovsky, who sprays it out to Danjuma wide on the left-hand side. He brings it down, marshalled by Klein, infield by Garner, and now Onana has it, slips it down the left channel, hoping for Harrison to make the run. It was just a little bit heavy. The weight of the delivery just had too much on it, and it goes slipping behind and away for a goal kick in front of the White Horse Lane stand away to our left-hand side. 0-0, you're listening to Talk Sport.
You can see what Onana was trying to do there, trying to play Jack Harrison in a good early start from Everton on the front foot for sure. And I think when Everton are going to be at their best this year, it's when Calvert-Lewin's fit and Dwight McNeil's being able to play those little intricate passes down the channel.
Well, Calvert-Lewin is the Premier League's most profligate player based on expected goals. No one else apart from Doucouré is chipping in with any regularity, so goals have been a real problem for them. Palace not been in great form in terms of results, but they have recently nicked a point at City, probably looked the better team in defeat to Chelsea, and beat Brentford with a strong performance at the weekend. But the bare statistics, 1 win in 9. Ball out of play far side on the halfway line. Tyreek Mitchell has it. about 7 steps into opposition territory. Amadou Onana and Jefferson Lerma just getting very acquainted with one another. Onana goes across and presses Mitchell as he looks to try and shove it forward, and it goes out of play into the Arthur Waite stand opposite us. And there is 3 sections of the Arthur Waite stand in the middle that haven't been sold tonight. Everybody else is crammed into the rest of the ground here, which is still quite lively. Here's Mateta, edge of the area, comes back to Schlupp, hits it into the ground, it bobbles up in front of the goalkeeper, and João Virginia has to adjust his position and get there, and it's a sensible thing to do in slippery conditions early on.
There's a good strike from Jeffrey Schlupp, hit it into the ground, always going to be a comfortable save. I like the little touch from Mateta.
Well, Mateta's had a good couple of weeks actually for Crystal Palace. He has scored 2 in his last 5, but he's also had a role in a couple of goals recently too, and he's profiting really from having a run in the team, because Odsonne Edouard is still not 100%. He's on the bench tonight, their top scorer, as the ball goes down the right flank and skips off the turf and goes out for a Crystal Palace goal kick away to our left-hand side. What do you make of Jean-Philippe Mateta?
Do you know what? I've always said that I think Crystal Palace have always lacked a player in that position. You know, even going back to when Benteke was here, and they didn't really seem to have someone that could put the ball in the back of the net. I think he works hard. You know, I said it at the Brighton game. He wasn't getting involved enough, and Ray Lewington went to speak to him, and he almost seemed to then get more involved. He was kind of up front, not really causing any problems for the centre back. So I think he still needs to offer a little bit more. But I think a player tonight, Sam, Jordan Ayew, not playing as well, I think he's a big loss. I really do. I think he's one of those players people often talk about, Elise, Eza, and all those types of players, but I think Jordan Ayew for this team is absolutely brilliant.
Look back at the highlights of Saturday's game and I think you'll see that. Here's Danjuma down the left hand side with a decent cross towards the back post. It was over McNeil's head, goes through the penalty area and is recovered by Coleman. Back into midfield, and James Garner for Everton, who are on the attack, shooting towards our left hand side. McNeil gets it back to Garner, and then Garner just takes a bit of time on the ball to wait and look for a pass. Here's Amadou Onana, who actually stamped his authority on that midfield early on in the game. Ball lifted out towards the near side. Mikalenko wins it. Matthias França doesn't really get hold of it, and it bounces back to Branthwaite, who finds its goalkeeper, João Virginia, and they play out from the back again. The rain is relentless. Did you like playing in the rain like this when you were out
I think
there?
you know the answer to that. You know I'm literally the biggest sun worshipper in the history of the universe, Sam. Can't believe you asked me that question. I know we ain't seen each other for a while, but...
Did you ever wear a hat when you were...
No, no hat. No hat.
All cleared out on this near side. I always wondered why you went off to all the sunny places of the world. Now I know. Here is Eze over the halfway line. Tucks it back into Klein, and then it goes back to Anderson away to our left-hand side. He moves up towards the edge of the halfway line, then turns back again after being engaged by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Everton probably in a forced position really. They would be 12th in the Premier League without the deduction for breaching profit and sustainability rules. They would be 11 points better off than last season if they hadn't been deducted their points. It shows the tune that Sean Dyche has got out of this group, but they have had a blip recently.
They have, and I think in the last 2 seasons they look like the team that potentially could go down. I know a lot of Evertonians were not that optimistic.
Good flick by Eze, looking for Mateta, and then Tarkowski just gets his body in between Mateta and the ball and nudges it back to João Virginia, who immediately releases it upfield, looking for the run of Calvert-Lewin. He's being chased by Anderson into the left corner, down by the corner flag, tried to keep it alive but couldn't get it far. And it's come back to Calvert-Lewin, who centred the ball, and then I think it was in an offside position, and it goes back for a free kick to Palace in their right full-back position. You were saying, sorry.
There's good movement there, though, Sam, from Danjuma to take it out wide. Danjuma's a bit of a strange player, really. Went on loan again last year to Tottenham, never really seems to get a run of games, and obviously he's starting this game tonight in the FA Cup. But I think, the emphasis is always going to be on Everton and scoring goals, and Calvert-Lewin being back, him staying healthy consistently, I think will be big for Everton within this game.
Well, it's been a couple of years since he was fit. He was healthy on a regular basis and was banging in goals. The goals have dried up again. He hasn't scored in 11 matches, 4 so far this season. He hasn't managed one since the end of October. He would love to break that drought tonight and then go on a run. Here is Jeff Schlupp on the halfway line, poking it forward, looking for Eze, who is back to full fitness again. There's a bit of a slow tempo to the game, almost waiting for things to happen, and then the ball's released long by Virginia upfield. It goes straight out of play, and that's been sort of the tail of the tape so far. Over-hit passes, long balls forward, and no real penetration up until this point. We have only played 8 minutes, and it is 0-0, but Mateta has just escaped James Tarkowski, and he's bounded down that left channel. Now he takes on Branthwaite, finds Schlupp in the left wing position. Across comes the defender, James Garner, from midfield, helping out with his defence, and he manages to clear it upfield and away from any real danger. And then Danjuma puts pressure on Klein, who goes down rather easily, and it's going to be a free kick on the halfway line. He's lost his boot, Nathaniel Klein, hobbling around. That means his sock's going to be wet now. Very uncomfortable.
I think Crystal Palace's fullbacks this season have been really, really good. I know there's been a lot of emphasis on the results, but what I will say, Sam, 1 win in 9 isn't good, but you look at the teams they played against during that time. You know, they've been really difficult games, you know, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, all those types of teams. But I think what I'm seeing so far, Mateta in the opening 9 minutes is far sharper than he did against Brighton, you know, the game we did just before Christmas, because he doesn't get involved enough. I think that will allow Eze to get on the ball a little bit more. But I like Nathaniel Klein and Tyreek Mitchell. I think they're excellent outside backs, full-backs.
And Mitchell is looking to try and chest this ball down in the left wing position. Lerma is joining as well. He's nudged it down the left touchline, and across comes Coleman into the right full-back area to smash it into the first row of the Arthur Wade stand. It's away for a throw-in. Rain still teeming down here. Palace going backwards to look to try and change the angle of attack and try and build again. We played 9 minutes on TalkSport. It's Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, live on TalkSport tonight, and we've got loads of live football for you over the course of the weekend, including that huge game on Saturday lunchtime, the Weir Tyne derby. Amadou Onana tussling with Eze away to our right hand side, and those two caught in a bit of a tangle, and it ends up with a free kick being given in Everton's favour in the left full-back position. Sunderland Newcastle 12:30, Stoke Brighton on TalkSport 2 at the Bet365 Stadium. Chelsea Preston 5:30 on Saturday night. Sunday I'll be at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City Huddersfield, Arsenal Liverpool 4:30. Joe Shannon and Stuart Pearce bringing you that one. And then on Monday night, of course, Wigan against Manchester United. Looking forward to that one as well. It's going to be a cracking week of football here on TalkSport. When is it not? Here is Danjuma down the left side, getting to the byline, taking on Richards. Low cross into the near post, steered away by Anderson. Goes back via Mikolenko in towards the left channel. It's hoiked forward by Harrison. Goes all the way through the penalty area to McNeil on the other side. And from the right now, they're trying to fashion an attack, but there was just a little heavy touch there by McNeil. He's found Onana, who's being watched by Eze. Mitchell is there for company too, and they've been forced back by Crystal Palace to the halfway line. Crystal Palace against Everton in the FA Cup on TalkSport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
França was getting on the ball there, and he needs to take better care of it because it allowed Everton to come straight back at them.
Ball nudged back towards his own goalkeeper by Gurhies, an interesting one. Matthias França, he was picked up by Dougie Freeman on a trip with one of the American owners down to Brazil to look at another player actually, and they noticed França and decided to offer him the chance to come to Crystal Palace because they thought they better snap him up before anybody else does, because he's still very young and he's got a lot of talent. He's only 19 years of age. They actually ended up fashioning a deal where it could end up rising to quite a sizable fee for someone of 19 and with very little experience, or part of a Copa Libertadores winning team. But they've got a Ballon d'Or clause in the contract for an extra slice of fee.
It shows you what they really think of him then. But I think Crystal Palace do a really good job at recruiting, but also developing young players throughout the years. They've always had a really good academy and have invested in that really well.
Here is Jefferson Lerma touching it to Eze. Eze, well, stop the game, the referee, Chris Kavanagh, because there is an issue here involving Onana and Lerma just colliding off the ball after Lerma tried to release it. Interesting refereeing situation tonight. I've got Chris Kavanagh in charge. VAR is Craig Pawson, despite what your team sheet says. I know it says something different on your team sheet. The assistant VAR is Natalie Aspinall, and the SVAR is Michael Salisbury. Another foul over on the far side, and a yellow card for Eze for diving.
Wow. I'll have to see that one again because I'm not sure that was a dive at all. I mean, this is the thing. I don't think any time a player doesn't get a free kick, it's automatically simulation. To be fair, that is. Now I'm just seeing the replay, yeah.
That was a bit naughty,
that's really good refereeing. That's actually really good refereeing. I have no idea why Eza goes down there at all. We saw a similar situation the other night at Anfield. You know, players would rather go down than get on the other end of the ball. I don't understand it at all.
Strange.
And that's good refereeing because we often criticise these referees, but that was actually really good refereeing.
Yeah, it was an odd decision from Eberici Eze. Scored at the weekend against Brentford. Has been struggling with a little bit of an ankle injury, but seems to be back and okay now. Calvert-Lewin wins a loose ball inside opposition territory. It's sent wide to Danjuma, who's crossed into the box, is flicked away. Comes back out to the middle part of the Palace half, where Amadou Onana gets on it. It's pinged by Tarkowski, again overcooked, and it's deep towards the left edge of the penalty area, deep inside opposition territory, and it flies behind into the White Horse Lane end and away for a goal kick away to our left hand side. It's Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, and so far it's been a little bit tepid,
to say the least. I think that's an example. Tarkowski there instantly put his hands in the air and mistakes happen, but they created that overload down the left hand side. Danjuma's looked quite sharp and bright in the opening 14 minutes, but that ball has to make it. Can't be over it in a pass. It's pretty bread and butter for these professional footballers to be able to just kind of put some backspin on it. Easier said than done, but that should be something pretty basic for them to do.
Onana pokes it through to McNeil. He then can't get on the end of the ball and push it back to him, so it's given away. Eventually Everton win it back inside their own half, and Tarkowski will find his goalkeeper. 0-0, 14 gone, talk sport. Leanne Sanderson and Sam Otherface here in the wet and windy conditions in South London. Here is
the best part of London, Sam. Legends are born in South East London. Did you know that?
It's South London, isn't it? I've got in trouble for calling it South East London because I too grew up in this area, as you know.
No, I'm the only legend that's from this area.
Yeah, I wasn't born here. I was born a little bit further out, I'm afraid. There's only one legend here, in Wozencroft.
Ian Wright.
Ball kick clear up towards the halfway line and out by Gay out to the far side. It's not too far from your neck of the woods, is it?
No, it's not. I used to love coming here as a kid. I used to go with my dad every single week when Wimbledon shared a ground, the Crazy Gang before they moved to MK Dons, and I used to love coming here. Brilliant.
So my first job was here in like TV commentary. I was the TV commentator for Wimbledon when they were here.
Yeah, it was brilliant being able to come and watch Premier League football every weekend.
Yeah. Here is James Garner, deep inside his own half, plays it out towards the left. It's sent long, over the top, looking for the run of Danjuma. Goalkeeper came out miles. It goes to the left and Danjuma keeps it alive. They're scrambling back, Crystal Palace, and Klein gets into the centre and fills in for Anderson, heads it out, and then Anderson brings the ball down this near side. But it was an odd, strange decision there by Henderson, who did just sort of unsettle the rest of his defence by coming charging out. And that ball into that left channel, it seems to be the area where it's bearing most fruit for Everton in the early stages of this game.
It is, and this is the thing about Dean Henderson. I like him. He's a brilliant shot stopper, but he has that in him where he comes charging out the goal, and it goes back to that old cliche, let defenders defend. But if I'm Anderson or Gehi, I'm just saying stay in the goal, let us deal with it, because then it caused a lot of problems, and Danjuma just almost got on the, well, he did get on the end of it and couldn't quite put it into those areas. But I've no idea why Dean Henderson's coming out the goal in that situation.
Danjuma finds Garner, and he plays a lovely raking pass out to Coleman on the far side, and Coleman takes it down, takes on Mitchell, finds McNeil on the edge of the area, then sends the ball into the centre. It wasn't a great ball. Chris Richards heads it away. It bounces midpoint of the Palace half, but they've won it back through Coleman, who charges to the edge of the box. Calvert-Lewin gets a little bit of space, pokes it wide to Danjuma, takes an extra touch, then puts onto his left foot and slams it into the side netting, and that was a chance for Everton. It might have taken a deflection on the way through.
Yeah, it's gone out for a corner, but the original play from James Garner, he pinged this ball on an absolute dime, 70 yards, you know, and I was just critical of Tarkowski moments ago, but that was a fantastic ball, completely, you know, broke the players in that area, and then it led to a really good attack where Calvert-Lewin tried to play it out wide, and I think he almost should have done better in that situation, Danjuma, but the fact that he took a deflection, maybe I'm being a little bit too critical on him.
Yeah, well, it's 17 minutes gone, that's the best chance we've had. A short corner taken, McNeil and Garner conspired. Then they've got it back to Mikalenko, whose delivery into the box is headed away by Mitchell. It goes out for a throw in midway between the penalty area and the byline, over on the far side in front of the Everton fans. And they look to have filled up most of their section, although it's very difficult to see from here because we've got a bit of a post-box view from the back of the main stand at Selhurst Park. Here is Harrison nudging the ball back towards Danjuma, who again goes on a run, this time from the right towards the edge of the box. This time he runs out of steam, and it's up to halfway. Palace can't hold on to it at this moment in time. Everton keep winning it back, and they've got it back again. Garner from Mateta, and this is a little bit better from Everton now. Just started to put a bit of fire in their bellies and take control of the encounter. We played 18 minutes, 0-0 on Talk Sport. You can hear the Everton fans are the ones making the noise now.
They are, and what I'm seeing right now, Sam, is that Mateta is isolated up front on his own. Yes, the ball needs to stick, but every time the ball's come up to him in the last 2 or 3 times, he's got 5 or 6 Everton players completely crowding him out. I think Eza needs to do a better job of getting closer to him and supporting him, as well as Richards and Jeffrey Schlupp getting around it to offer him that support, because right now Mateta is just isolated up front on his own.
McNeil wide on the halfway line to Mikalenko. Sean Dyche wanted him to put it in first time and spend it in behind the defence. He didn't do that, and Dyche leant back as if to say, come on, Garner. He's got his radar in all right. He's picked out Coleman again, and Coleman's delivered a ball which is far too high over the top of the crossbar and out and away to safety as far as Palace are concerned. But James Garner has played a couple of rather special balls from that midpoint of his own half, or just up to the halfway line, where he sprayed it perfectly out to Coleman.
On an absolute rope, Sam. Now what a ball that is again from James Garner. I think Seamus Coleman will be disappointed he hasn't put a better ball into the box there, but seeing it from this angle is something that might seem pretty basic for footballers to be able to do, but the fact that he's picking up that ball, he's got it on a rope, and when you've got your boots on like that, you know, like in a game as a player, you know, you've hit a couple out there, he's gonna gain confidence from that.
Everton, like Palace, have not enjoyed a good run of results, and then might be thankful for the distraction of the cup. Sean Dyche's side lost the last 3, but here's Danjuma, who's had a bright start down the left-hand side, gets to the box, shoots, and it's pushed over the top by Dean Henderson and out for a corner. It looked a certain goal as he got in behind the defence and ran down that left channel. As he approached the edge of the 6, he smashed it high, and Henderson just picked up a big right hand to tip it over the top.
Danjuma does well there because he starts the original play with Jack Harrison, goes across goal. Danjuma, I think it's a really good save from Dean Henderson. I mean, maybe the right height for a goalkeeper, but he looks like he almost goes with the wrong hand, but it's a really good save. But Danjuma's looked bright this opening 20 minutes. 20
minutes gone. It's in towards the near post and picked behind by Mateta, who got there in front of Brandthwaite and just screened that danger area in front of the goalkeeper, put it straight out and away for a second successive corner. Danjuma with the 2 best efforts on goal so far, and saved by Henderson was vital from Arnaud Danjuma. Here's the corner, left-footed again, right under the goalkeeper, and he's fumbled it inside the 6-yard box, and he was quick enough to gobble it back up again just before Tarkowski pounced.
Yeah, I think that was quite fortunate from Dean Henderson. I've said it, he's such a good shot stopper, but he seems to have this in him a little bit. I think he gets quite fortunate that Tarkowski doesn't get there, you know, the first player to get there. But again, Everton are putting on the pressure. I think they'll be the happier team. Sean Dyche will be happy with regards to the attack. Maybe in the final third, you know, they could clean it up a little bit, but I think they've looked the more likely to score within this game so far.
Well, Crystal Palace have actually been better on the road than they have been here at Selhurst Park this season. Only Luton, Burnley and Sheffield United have got worse home records than Crystal Palace, and the statistics don't provide particularly comforting viewing so far. 63% possession to the away side Everton. They've had 2 shots, one of them on target. No shots on target so far for Crystal Palace, and it remains goalless. You're listening to Talk Sport.
I think Anderson as well, centre-back, he's really good at a ball player coming out the back, but I don't think in the Palace midfield they're showing enough for him. He looks like he always wants to play that ball, but Schlupp, Lerma, Richards are not really looking for it at all, so he can't really break through the lines.
Well, the other thing that he's really good at is playing that long diagonal from the edge of the box out towards one of the wide players, but again, because Mateta seems to be up on his own, it's very difficult for him to just do that and say, go on then, you go and fight with two centre-halves for it.
Yeah, it is, you're right, Sam. He has got a great delivery, and França needs to get in this game as well. You know, he's kind of out here on the right-hand side, and Mikalenko's happy days because he's not really getting on the ball at all, França.
Well, it's interesting because Roy Hodgson was talking about him and how he's really only had him for a couple of months in terms of training week in, week out with the first team. But when I saw him in his first appearance here, he came off the bench, I think it was against Arsenal actually, he was a little bit lost, and he's been on the periphery of things up until this point. It's 0-0. Henderson has it inside his 18-yard box. He sends it long and out to the left. It's headed away by Coleman, down by Onana, and Everton have it back again, which has been the way of things. Ball sent down the right. Again, McNeil chases. Mitchell goes across. Gay's there to help him out, and realising that McNeil had overshot, he backheels the ball and then turns and plays it up to Eze, and then they work their way out of a tight spot, and Eze's got a chance to break now, and they've got a few extra bodies on the right side of the ball as they're concerned, and Klein into França, weaves infield, a chance to run now, he's got two to his left, he needs to release it, he's played it behind, but he was fouled as he did so, and the free kick is given inside the D, just outside the box, and James Tarkowski is complaining, saying, well, did you not see the direction of the ball completely change, so therefore it must have been me who played it, but I think it was a foul.
Foul all day long. He's got nowhere near the ball. He completely cleans out França, who actually overran the ball. He didn't really need to do that, if I'm being honest. It's going to be a foul all day long, but the first time França's got on the ball in that area, I thought the original movement with him was quite poor, because he came inside, you know, when they were looking for him. But if he gets running like that, this is a really dangerous area, but also pretty close. You know, most players don't like it when it's this close. You know, maybe they'll hit it low and hard, but it's difficult to get it up and over the wall when the ball is so close to the 18-yard box.
Well, it's Eberechi Eze who's going to take charge of the situation. A man who has looking to score in back-to-back games for the first time since April. He's placed the ball down inside the D. There's a six-man wall. There's a little bit of a gap for him to aim at there. And he's eyeing it up. He's looking. He's trying to find out the best route to João Virginia's goal. He sucks in the breath, then steps up, right foot in, balloons the ball over the bar.
I never understand that. Like I just said, it's always a difficult technique. I'm not saying it's doable, and we can kind of see Roy Hodgson on our monitor now, but it's always going to go up and over, completely off. The angle was off. You have to go low and hard there for me, especially when it's a wet night like it is. Make the keeper make a save, but that's a really poor effort from Eze.
There's so much sort of uncertainty in the wall on the left-hand side of it as he looked at it. Even if he doesn't believe he's going to beat the goalkeeper, the best thing he can do, surely, is try and test him from that range, because he knows he's not going to get it up and down from it's literally an inch outside the penalty area.
I know, I never understand that when footballers do that. They take these free kicks all day long. It's not easy to do. We know, like, players like James Ward-Prowse makes it look easy, and David Beckham in his day, but that technique there was never going to go in.
Here on the left-hand side is Mikalenko delivering a decent ball to the far post. Across comes Mitchell to head it clear. It drops for Eze and then goes back into the right full-back position, where Klein eventually takes it to the wide left, and then Danjuma comes alive again and takes it back down that touchline and runs at Klein, gets to the bar line, produces a cross, takes a deflection, goes behind. It's another Everton corner, and after a quick, brief moment of Crystal Palace attack, it's back with Everton again.
Definitely causing a lot of problems down this Everton's left-hand side. Every single time Danjuma looks like he's going to create something. He's had a couple of opportunities now, and that's something that Crystal Palace need to rectify for sure.
Here is the corner to be taken by Garner on the near side. He'll hit it right-footed. Oh, it's a low, flat one. It almost sneaks in at the near post, and Henderson has to kick it clear. Right by the post, he has to hoik that away because he was in real trouble there. França goes down under pressure from James Garner. Garner suggests there was not much in it. The referee has given a free kick. But that was a mishit delivery by James Garner. Went into that near post. It skipped off the turf, and Henderson had to be concentrated.
Dean Henderson does really well here because it was a poor ball in. I've been so complimentary of James Garner and having the balls on a row, but it wasn't the best ball into the box. But Dean Henderson does really well because that looked like it was going to sneak in on the near post and catch everybody off guard.
Well, that is very good from Dean Henderson, bearing in mind that he could have got outfoxed by the nature of that delivery. Up goes Coleman with Jeff Schlupp. The ball ricochets off the Ghanaian shoulder and into the arms of João Virginia, away to our right-hand side. Both these two teams are probably quite happy to relinquish possession of the ball and hit on the counter-attack. All of Everton's wins this season have come when they've had less possession than their opponents. Certainly Palace prefer it that way. But it's Everton who have seen the most of the ball in the opening exchanges. 27 gone, it's 0-0. Eza back to halfway. Palace in this unfamiliar blue kit, royal blue with red trim and slash from left shoulder to right hip, attacking the goal away to our right-hand side. It's to do with the foundation and highlighting the work of the foundation, that new kit. I'm not entirely sure how wearing a blue kit does that, but we're talking about it, so I suppose therefore that it's doing its job. Noise levels raised inside the stadium as the ball is cleared over towards the far side. Maybe if they sell the kit, will they get more money for the foundation? That might be a good idea. Might be able to auction it off later and do that.
Yeah, Crystal Palace always doing big things in the community though. Even when I was a kid, I used to go to their soccer school from the age of like 5, down in Croydon. It was really good, and we used to get like a little goodie bag, and we got to come to the game, meet the players, those types of things. And you know, they just built an unbelievable academy, training ground down by where my mum and dad, where I grew up, right by where my old school is. So they're doing really big things, and the women's team as well.
Ball is on the right side with Everton on the attack. Yeah, it is going to be part of a fundraiser, so these shirts will be sold off and they'll end up trying to make a little bit of money for it. I don't know if they're making any that can go in the club shop that people can buy. It's the only time apparently they are going to wear it. Here's Richards under pressure from Jack Harrison. He's guarded back towards Gurhey. Arsenal are doing something similar for the game against Liverpool. They'll wear an all-white kit again, as they have done in all their FA Cup campaigns over the last 3 years. Here's França, right side, chests the ball down. A lot of expectation every time he picks up the ball, but he hasn't really delivered on that promise up until this point. And it goes all the way out of play after good marshalling from Mikalenko, who just showed him who was boss really and sent him down the touchline, and the ball went out of play. Yeah,
good experience play there from Mikalenko, you know, shields it out of play. And França, you know, you mentioned it before, Sam, he did look a bit lost before. And in this game, you know, when he's got the ball and he had that one run, he created an opportunity which he drew the foul. But other than that, I don't think he looks like he knows his role and responsibility on the defensive side as well. And he's done a good, of course, commentators coach has done a good piece of defensive play, and it goes out of bounds. But I think he needs to get involved on the other side of play as well.
Yeah, that Arsenal white kit is part of their No More Red kit. It's about knife crime violence in North London. It's a campaign that's been going on for a couple of years now. I think this is the 3rd season in a row. Launched in January 2022, and they're going to actually launch the kits. I think 30 quid they're going to cost, the retail price of each t-shirt. It's going to be donated in equal portions to the No More Red charity partners that Arsenal have set up. Always a good thing to do, and it does. Those games are always on television, so it raises it, becomes a talking point, which is also good. Arsenal, another club that's great in the community. Talk Sport, we are at Selhurst Park, and there is a football match going on. It's just not much of one so far, and Crystal Palace have been on the back foot for most of it, and the best chances have certainly come to Everton. Onana back to Branthwaite on the edge of his own penalty area. Out wide it goes to Coleman, who has only played 94 minutes of senior football this year because of an injury which has dogged him over the course of the early part of the season, and is been restricted by those, and he's had a lot of the ball on the right hand side. Here's Onana, who started well, but it's like the rest of the game really just sort of gone a little bit lethargic. Garner halfway, back infield it goes to Mikalenko. Onana back to the left, and now it's picked up by Garner again, who trundles down the left touchline, looks to run towards the edge of the penalty area, plays a poor ball which is cut out by Anderson, and then Palace have got it, and França manages to get it back to Klein, who gives it straight to Onana, and we turn over again. Yeah,
Crystal Palace are giving away the ball far too easily within this game. I think Everton have looked really good when they're in possession, haven't really played any penetrative passes, and we've got Garner going out wide. That was probably the only time. Other than that, they seem to get in the final third, Everton, and can't quite, build those combinations in there. Calvert-Lewin hasn't touched the ball, I would say, in the last 10, 12 minutes or so, and that's not something that Sean Dyche will be happy with. He needs Dwight McNeil getting on the ball from the right, cutting in, getting on the ball a little bit more. But Crystal Palace have to take better care of the ball because they're just giving it away every time they get it. The distances between the front, the middle and the back are too wide. Mateta is isolated, chasing everything down, and then the ball goes out to Seamus Coleman, and Jeffrey Schlupp is almost 1 or 2 seconds too late, and then Everton seem to be able to get out with Onana.
Worth pointing out that actually the first match of the FA Cup third round saw teams that were pretty much the Premier League teams in terms of selection, and there's a huge sort of gap between fixtures this month because of the winter break, which Sean Dyche is not happy with. He says, why don't we just have less games in December and then spread them out in January? But there's all sorts of arguments for both, really, isn't there? But Everton have struggled to be a little bit consistent over the course of the season. So have Crystal Palace. They won at the weekend, but only once this season have they won back-to-back games, and they haven't really tested João Virginia in this one, and we have played 32 minutes, and it is 0-0.
The thing with Crystal Palace, though, Sam, is they're always in amongst it. That you can never write them off. Even in games like this, when they go behind, they seem to find a way to come back. You've only got to look at what they did at the Etihad as well. So there's something in there with all these bright young players that they've got and ball players. I think they should be doing far better than they are. And I think under Patrick Vieira, I mentioned it before, people were happy with the style of play, but they potentially were going down under Patrick Vieira.
They weren't going down.
It could have been.
They sacked him when he was about to have... He'd had a terrible run of matches, which were ridiculous in terms of their difficulty. And then they had a load of easy ones to play after that. Here's Mateta bursting away down the left-hand side for Palace. Steers it in towards the near post. It cannons off Brandthwaite and it goes out for a corner.
We'll come back to Patrick Vieira in a minute, but I think, because I've got a lot to say about that. But that was a good run again from Mateta. Nice and bright. I do feel sorry for Mateta sometimes because at most of the time he has to run his socks off. Really unselfish runs he has to do to try and get something out of nothing. So he's created something there and it's gone out for a corner.
Corner on the far side. Crystal Palace have got themselves into a corner with corners. I think this is their second one of the game so far. That means they've taken 90 this season. They haven't scored from one. Right-footed in towards the back post, looking for Anderson. Headed away by Brandthwaite. Breaks on the edge of the area. França tries to return it. Blocked by Jack Harrison. And then Anderson gets it back to Klein. 0-0. You're listening to Talk Sport. Klein swishes the ball out towards the wide left. Eze gets there ahead of McNeil. And now he's on the left edge of the area. Into Schlupp. Trying to turn. Goes past Tarkowski. Gets to the byline. Produces a cross. And past João Virginia, who completely missed it. And it had to be hooked clear by Mikalenko at the far post. Still Palace come. Down the left with Mitchell. Back to Richards. Now on to Schlupp once again. Forward it goes. Mitchell round the corner. Into the box. Tries to turn it for the 6-yard area, but he couldn't get any power on the cross. And the cutback can't go into the arms of João Virginia.
Really good play from Crystal Palace. Excellent from Jeffrey Schlupp. He digs that out, and I think, he has no right cutting that back across. It takes a little bit of a deflection, to be fair, from Tarkowski. Mikalenko does a good clearance, and I think França also has to anticipate, make that run into the box. But the best play we've seen from Crystal Palace on the attack so far within this game, and it shows how dangerous they can be when they get the ball and get the balls into certain areas that they can affect it.
Talksport on a Thursday night in the rain. Want to go back to Patrick Vieira quickly?
Yeah, I mean, with his managerial credentials, when he was at NYCFC, didn't do the best. When he was in France, didn't do the best. So I like Patrick Vieira as a person, but I think managerial-wise, jury's still out.
Here's McNeil into the box with a right wing cross with his left foot, which arcs in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Is dealt with well by Crystal Palace. Back out to the wide left of Mikalenko. Mikalenko's delivery is a really good one into Calvert-Lewin, who rises, but he misdirects his header, and it goes wide of the upright, and it's out of play and away for a goal kick.
See, I think this is a decent ball in for Mikalenko. I think Calvert-Lewin is so far past the front post that awareness-wise, that's never really going to go on target. He was so far post the front, but Mikalenko puts it when it goes there. But the other run, the secondary run, has to come in, and maybe, Calvert-Lewin could dummy it. Maybe the ball wasn't meant for him.
Yeah, well, Patrick wasn't perfect, but I do think that when his next 8 fixtures included games against the bottom 7 at that time, then there's probably a case to say that they moved a little bit too quickly. I don't know. Maybe they've got a grand plan. Maybe they have. I don't know. But since then, they've had Roy till the end of the season, then Roy again for a year. I just don't know what it is they're trying to do. Maybe there is something up their sleeve that they are going to pull out at the end of the season. They've got their eyes on a manager and they've got a great recruitment plan going forward. But it doesn't feel like that.
No, I hear you. I think it was more of a panic situation with regards to maybe Steve Harris felt like they were going to fall out of the league, and ultimately nobody wants to do that money-wise, cost-effective wise, and just playing in the Premier League, the best league in the world. You want to do that, don't you? So, but I think, when it comes to the play, these Palace fans are, easily pleased. They want to see the fight, the heart, and they want to be in the Premier League, and maybe they felt like Patrick Vieira wasn't the right person for that. But there's been a lot of managers linked. Cooper's been linked to this job in the last couple of weeks as well, so we'll have to wait and see.
Kieran McKenna as well has been linked in the last couple of days. I don't think he'll leave till the end of the season. Ball sent round the corner for Calvert-Lewin to chase down the left side. It goes into the box, skips off the turf, and Dean Henderson's starting position is a good one this time. Comes out, collects it in front of Calvert-Lewin and bowls it out towards the near side. Klein in the right full-back position for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, 38 gone. Ball back to Henderson, who's in bright green tonight, forward towards the edge of the box, and Palace bring it clear with Mark Gay. And then Lerma sends it long and high down the left side, looking for Mateta to chase into the left corridor. Across comes Branthwaite, sticks to his task very well, gets close to him. It goes back to Schlupp and then into midfield where Lerma's still got hold of it. Eze back to Richards, and then Gay over on the far side. Schlupp drops in again. Mitchell's gone wide towards the left. Schlupp back to Gay, and then he is under pressure from McNeil and eventually turns it out towards the far side, just in from the touchline. Mitchell up to the edge of the penalty area. A little give over towards Eze by Mateta. Edge of the box is Lerma, who strikes it right through the ball. Really caught it well, but just couldn't keep it down or on target to Tashal Virginia. And it's probably the best bit of football we've seen from Crystal Palace from that left-hand side, knitted together really well. And again, as we saw at the weekend, Mateta just knowing when to leave.
Yeah, brilliant play from Crystal Palace. I think Lerma almost catches it too well. It looked like it was going in the top corner, but it was a really good dummy from Mateta. Eze does really well to lay it off to Lerma, and it goes over the bar. But that's exactly what Crystal Palace can do when they get going in that final third.
Well, that's the best efforts that Crystal Palace have had in the game. 39 minutes gone. Jefferson Lerma with it, looking to add a goal to his impressive performances with Crystal Palace. He's got to be one they take care with. He's missed 5 of the last 16 games with a hamstring injury. And he certainly pulled the hammer down on that effort from the edge of the box. Down the right, they come again, Everton, once more. They've been the major aggressors in the first 45 minutes, and they've had 2 very good chances. Arno Danjuma might be a little bit disappointed not to have scored, but in the last few minutes Crystal Palace have had some good efforts as well. The ball is sent into the box, it comes back to the edge of the area. Garner strikes it, safe down low by Henderson, and then I think there was a foul inside the box anyway, which was gone against Everton. Right on the edge of it, Gay manages to get it clear, and it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the 18-yard box. It wasn't actually Henderson who made the save, it was Anderson who was positioned just in front of his goalkeeper, who kicked it away from the England man.
Yeah, Garner catches it really well, but I think it was going to be a comfortable save from Henderson, but it's better to be safe than sorry, and Anderson just kind of guided it away. But I think Sean Dyche will be quite disappointed if this stays the way it is and they go in at half-time 0-0, because they've had all of the possession, but we've seen Crystal Palace do that to teams before. They're okay giving up a lot of the ball as long as they make the most in the final third, and I think that's something that Crystal Palace do really well. They wait for their opportunities, and Everton haven't been clinical enough in front of goal within this game.
Jean Virginia's got it back on the edge of his own 6-yard area, being pressed by Eze. It's cleared, headed forward by Chris Richards, or by a Munich man. It's a clash of heads in the middle of the park. Lerma was involved in that, and Amadou Onana goes down holding his head, and will have a pause in play. And he does get himself into a couple of situations, Jefferson Lerma. He's one that you could always guarantee will bump into a booking sooner rather than later. He's in his 201st English appearance tonight. He's got 55 yellow cards and 4 reds. It's over one every 4 games.
Yeah, but I think I'm okay with that. Obviously you have to be smart within this game, but I think Lerma and Onana's battle in that midfield has been really, really good.
Yeah, Onana looked to have stamped his authority on it earlier on, but certainly Lerma has come into the game in recent times. The free kick is sent long and high towards the far post. Calvert-Lewin can't do anything with it. It goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. There's just a lack of poise in the final third, and Sean Dyche and Ian Wone just having a conversation on the near touchline about what they can tweak at half-time possibly. We've got 3 minutes to go before the end of this first 45. And it is 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Everton. And Sportspod coming up straight after we finish. Jamie O'Hara and Jermaine Pennant are on, taking your calls. 03717 222 334. Sportspod was entertaining yesterday with Jason Cundy. Was that a handball by McNeil? The referee said no. It was deliberate, so he allowed play on. Crystal Palace cleared it on the halfway line anyway. It now bounces through kindly, and then Mateta is sent through the middle, looking to chase the ball. Across comes Coleman and gets in front of him, and it's cleared away. Well, Schlupp played the ball to him, then felt he was fouled. The referee played the advantage. Mateta didn't get hold of the ball. Should they have brought it back, or wasn't it a foul in the first place?
I think the Crystal Palace fans were appealing for a back pass, but Seamus Coleman slides across. I don't think Seamus Coleman needed to slide there. I think the keeper had it covered, to be fair, but he comes across, and I think he gets quite fortunate in the end.
Garner back to Coleman in the right fullback position. Is sent forward to Calvert-Lewin, who's beaten in the air by Chris Richards. It goes out over on the far side, right on the halfway line for a throw-in. Alan Brazil back tomorrow morning with Ray Parlour, and then White and Jordan have got Martin Keown with them tomorrow between 10 and 1. And tomorrow night, Tottenham-Burnley is live on Talk Sport. Matthias França gets challenged from behind by Garner, still walks away with the ball, wanders over the halfway line from left to right, and then gets into a left-wing position, searching out Mateta. Mateta challenged Jared Braithwaite, but Braithwaite was just strong enough to hold him off. And Everton have got possession back on the edge of their own penalty area again, goalless. Yeah,
that's when I want a Crystal Palace player to just tell França, put your foot on it. I have no idea why he's hit a kind of hit and hope ball up to Mateta. There's not much he can do with that. None of the Palace players were even anywhere near Mateta in that situation.
Well, Everton don't score a lot of goals, but they would be expected to test the Palace defence, which has been a lot less reliable recently. They've conceded 22 in their last 12 Premier League games. The Crystal Palace defence, they've been a tad more miserly at the beginning of the season, but they've been prized apart with a little bit more ease as the season has gone on. And there's been a couple of big chances in this first half for Everton, and 1 or 2 skirmishes inside the Everton box which Palace could have profited from on a different day. But it is goalless, and Gay has it at the heart of the defence, and he charges past McNeil and then tries to spread it out to the left, where there's been a really good run by Jeff Schlupp, but he just didn't have the measure of the pass to get beyond Tarkowski. Tarkowski combines with his midfield to get it clear via Virginia up into opposition territory. Good big leap by Calvert-Lewin to flick it on. Danjuma couldn't reach it, half cleared by Palace, then it's pinched by Eze. It's back with Palace again. Lots of turnovers of possession in the middle of the park here tonight. As we approach half time, I think both managers will be thinking, well, if we're going to avoid a replay, we're going to have to improve our care of the ball, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's been so many turnovers and not much quality.
Mateta with a lovely turn and pass out to França, who's dribbling towards the edge of the box, and again just carried it a little bit too far. Should have passed it out wide to Lerma, who's got it now, and he plays it round the corner for França. Needs an early ball. It's deflected and goes beyond Mateta, and the on-rushing Schlupp, who went to the near post and flicks out on the far side and away for a Crystal Palace throw. They've certainly got stronger as the game's gone on. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first half here at Selhurst Park in the FA Cup third round. Ball is with Eze, and then it's out wide towards Mitchell. It's collected by Schlupp and back into the middle, and Gahey. They're inside the Everton half, about 20 yards from the edge of the penalty area here. Everton in a half-decent shape. Tarkowski's gone searching for the ball with Eze. The ball's back out wide to Mitchell, who sends it down to Schlupp, who's offside. And the flag goes up very quickly. as he sends across into the near post, and it's gobbled up by João Virginia. And we have had our first minute and only minute of added time at the end of the first 45. Well, no one in the Premier League has drawn more games this season than Crystal Palace, and they're taking that form into the FA Cup as well. We could end up having a replay unless someone can take charge of this encounter in the second half. A couple of good opportunities. Danjuma has been at the heart of the good play that Everton have fashioned in that first half. There was a header wide from Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, and Henderson had to make a save or two. Jefferson Lerma coming the closest for Crystal Palace, but at the break it is Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0. Yet no changes at half-time for either Crystal Palace or Everton, who have got a good record against Palace here. They've lost just 2 of their last 14 trips to Selhurst Park, and they've been doing well in the FA Cup since a 4th round visit here in January 1931, when Dixie Dean scored 4 times in a 6-0 Everton victory. Palace have won only 2 of the last 19 meetings with Everton, but they did win a cup final at Wembley, the Full Members Cup final in 1991, when Ian Wright scored twice, Jeff Thomas and John Solarco scored. And those of us of a certain vintage can remember that competition because well, I remembered it because Chelsea won it twice.
I was 3, but I still know about it.
Ball headed away by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is at the top of the Palace formation. Mateta has escaped down the left side, trying to take on Tarkowski. I'll go through the 2 teams in just a second. Mateta's ball into the box is very hefty, and it will run out towards the far touchline, and Matthias Fransen will do well to keep it in, and he does. He turns it back towards the middle of the park, plays a ball down the right channel, too heavy, goes out of play, and it remains 0-0. So this is how Crystal Palace start. They've got Dean Henderson in goal. Their back 4 looks like this. It's Klein, Anderson, Gurhey and Mitchell. They're all in blue tonight. In midfield, Jefferson Lerma is joined by Richards and by Ezer. It's Jean-Philippe Mateta leading the line, with França on one side and Schlupp on the other. As far as Everton are concerned, all in grey today, and attacking now the goal away to our right, the Holmesdale Road end, which is where Palace would love to be attacking in the second half. Their line-up is João Virginia in goal. Has looked a little bit shaky and vulnerable at times. Coleman playing at right back. The back 4 is also including Tarkowski, Branthwaite and Mikalenko. And it's McNeil, Anana, Garner and Danjuma in midfield, with Harrison playing off Calvert-Lewin in attack. It is goalless on Talk Sport. Crystal Palace have never won the FA Cup. They have been to the final twice, 2 epic finals, 1990 and 2016. But they have recently got to a couple of semi-finals. Here's Gurhey playing the ball left to Lerma, who's just dropped in. He clips the ball high out to Anderson on the edge of his own penalty area, and he'll nod it back to his goalkeeper.
The thing is, I mentioned it before about none of these teams would want to replay, but what I will say is that we've seen in this competition, especially last year, teams like Sheffield United getting into the semi-finals. So these fans do want to go on a good run. You know, people would say exactly, but you know, sometimes people try and say, oh, you know, Man City are going to win it anyway. Well, what's the point in anyone playing then? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's good that these teams, you know, can be in amongst it, and that's what we want to see. That's the beauty of the FA Cup.
Huddersfield might have a different idea to that. That game's live on Sunday. Ball has been sent through the middle. Eze tried to flick the ball on, then chase his own flick on, but Branthwaite was there to tidy up for Everton. The ball eventually is worked out to the near side. It goes out of play. It's an Everton throw in front of Sean Dyche's dugout. Away to our left, Steve Stone there as well, just been told off by the 4th official for daring to join Ian Wone in the technical area. Naughty. Fancy 3 of you being in there. That's Roy Hodgson's pet hate as well. He hates the 4th official telling him that he's got too many people in that technical area. He says it's a waste of time. He's standing on the edge of the technical area right now. He's wearing a tracksuit today, Roy Hodgson.
But guess what, Ray Lewin, I'm still in shorts, no matter what.
Ball sent down the right by Everton into the right wing position. Covering in the left full back area was Gahey. He nods the ball out towards this near side, and it goes out for a throw in, which Tyreek Mitchell will take. Tyreek Mitchell, who created Ez's goal on Saturday, has been brilliant this season at winning possession back for Crystal Palace. He's the best at doing that in the team, and he's just deflected the ball inadvertently out for a throw-in on this near side, which Seamus Coleman will take, and went to take quickly to try and fire it into Arnaud Danjuma, who'd made a intelligent run. A lot of the play congested on this right-hand side, and Harrison has it now. Tight to the touchline, sends it into the box. Danjuma's got Garner behind him. Didn't realise it, and ended up getting shuffled out of the box by Anderson. Garner's got it now onto his right foot, trying to curl it to the far corner. Wasn't a bad effort, but it was just a little bit too high, and it's out of play and away for a goal kick.
Yeah, I don't think Danjuma knew that Garner was there, because he could have dummied that. But good play again from Everton, to create the opportunity, and James Garner just overhits it a little bit. Not the worst effort, but gets his angles a little bit off. But again, Everton getting into good areas. They just need to pick their passes, make the better decisions in the final third.
Mitchell, left edge of his own area, up towards Lerma, who left it in that enduring battle between him and Onana. It's one back by Schlupp as he taken it off the toes, and McNeil went down softly, and they continue to break down the right side. França into Eze, edge of the area, into the box he goes, right-footed shot towards the near corner, parried away by the goalkeeper, who sprung up to his near corner and pushed it out for a corner over on the far side. 0-0.
Good play again from Crystal Palace. França plays a nice little pass inside. Eze catches it quite well, throws a little dummy. Decent save from the goalkeeper, but Eze in that position is so dangerous when he's picking up that ball in those areas.
And he takes the corner out on the far side in the junction of the White Horse and the Arthur Waite stands, almost diagonally opposite from where we're sitting at the back of the main stand, just behind the dugouts. The ball in towards the near post, flicked on by Lerma, and he heads it goalwards, and it's easily caught by the goalkeeper, who springs his arms into the air. And then he will clear upfield very quickly, looking for a searching run from Jack Harrison, but it ends up in the arms of the other goalkeeper.
You can see what Virginia was trying to do there, but it wasn't the greatest of balls in from Eze, because he didn't have much pace on it by the time Lerma got it to head it on target. It wasn't a bad effort from Lerma in that situation, but I like that from Virginia, trying to turn the back line. And one player that he was trying to find was Jack Harrison. I don't think we've seen enough of him in this game.
França, good touch, takes it down the right, beats Mikolenko for speed, but then just overruns the ball and was just marshalled by the Ukrainian. The ball goes out of play and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, Mikolenko's had, he's done well to keep up with França there pace-wise, but all game I don't think he's caused really many problems to Mikolenko when he's coming in from that right-hand side. The one moment that he ran in, overran the ball, and Tarkowski took him out. Other than that, I think Mikolenko's had a good game.
Just glanced at the rather detailed stats that our producer Izzy has in front of her. Total big chances, 0 for both.
I'm not shocked.
52 minutes gone. He's fouled late by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace. And Everton 5 times winners of the FA Cup, the last time in 1995. Paul Rideout's goal upset the odds and beat an all-star Manchester United team at Wembley. They were staple diets of finals in the 80s. I think they played 4 finals during the 80s, 2 Merseyside derbies. They beat Watford in 1 and lost to Manchester United in the early 80s as well. It felt like an annual day out back then, but they haven't been to a final since David Moyes took them to Wembley in 2009. They had a semi-final a couple of times, and one against Liverpool, I remember, in 2012. And one not so long ago, to a quarter-final against Crystal Palace, actually, and Palace beat them 4-0. But trophies and silverware have become a distant memory for Everton. Palace have the ball down in the right corner of the field, attacking the goal away to our left. Klein tosses it in. It wasn't a great throw, that. It was easily cleared by Everton. And then Eze wins it back after Calvert-Lewin fails to hold on to it. And then Palace come forward. Good bump pass by Eze back to Richards, and then it's switched out to the left. And Lerma, it's too heavy for Mitchell, and it's going to go out of play.
Yeah, Lerma picks up the ball well there. You can see what he was trying to do, but I think it's interesting, Sam, because they just showed Steve Holland on our monitors, and he's at this game. I think he's chosen an absolute belter to come to us.
Listen, the thing is, you learn something at every football match, Leanne, as you know.
You do, but the quality of this one just hasn't been good at all.
Good thing is that both teams know that unless they get a winner, it is going to end with a replay, and I think both would be keen to avoid that. So as the minutes tick down, I think it will get a lot more exciting. Anderson switches to play from right to left. What are you laughing at? Mitchell nudges it on. It's back towards Lerma, and then infield towards Jeff Schlupp. on halfway. Gurhey tries a little turn, beautifully gets away from Harrison and moves into midfield, then plays it down the left channel, and it's over here, and it goes straight out of play for a goal kick.
Good play initially from Gurhey picking up the ball there, but they just weren't on the same page. You can see Eza made that movement, and he just overhits the ball a little bit.
Looks like they might be making a change, Everton, in just a few moments. Just wonder whether or not Amadou Onana is moving quite as freely as he would like. Ball goes out of play on this near side. Coleman wants the throw in. The referee hasn't indicated which way it's going to go. The assistant on this near side has said Palace, so it is with Mitchell in front of the dugouts. Sean Dyche not happy about it, having a word with the fourth official. Ball thrown in towards Schlupp, but given straight to Danjuma. It's then kicked long, and Calvert-Lewin is in a race with Gurhey, and he's going to get there, although Gurhey has allowed him to go wide to retrieve it, so he was sort of going away from goal. Onana back in midfield, skirts the ball out towards the far side, into Garner, and then back to Jared Branthwaite, and now Onana's got it again, all arms and legs. Amadou Onana touches it through the centre circle to Tarkowski, further wide on to Coleman. Coleman faced up by Lerma on this near side, gets it back to Tarkowski, and then they go all the way back to their goalkeeper, Virginia.
See, I think this is poor from Everton. You know, they're possessing the ball really well, but they get into the final third, and I'm not quite sure what Anderson allows Dominic Calvert-Lewin to run off with him like that, because Gahey wasn't in a foot race with him initially, but then they're in the final third and end up going all the way back to the goalkeeper. It doesn't really make any sense.
Coleman down the right, infield, finds Harrison, who just moves off Chris Richards and gets a pocket of space 10 yards short of the penalty area, goes wide to the left now, and McNeil for Everton, who produces a cross into the box. It's over the head of Calvert-Lewin, away by Mitchell. Amadou Onana keeps it alive, needs a bit of help. Danjuma comes towards him, it's backwards again instead of forwards, and then as it's thrust forwards by Tarkowski, it's repelled by a resolute Crystal Palace. Back in it goes by Branthwaite to the far touchline. McNeil takes it, good touch to bring it down, and now he's got to try and make something happen with it, but he's going backwards of square. Onana into Garner, who does possess a really good passing range, just prods the ball into the path of Mykolenko before it comes back to him once again, the former Manchester United player, and then Harrison takes over. He shifts it on to Garner very quickly, and there is a lot of possession for Everton. They're just going nowhere.
No, they're not, and this ball, I mean, Seamus Coleman is wide open on the right hand side.
Ball into the box, which is thrust in by Mykolenko, easily cleared. Onana won it, then left it, then had to go and get it again because Coleman wasn't going to get it. Coleman has got it now. He's chipped it into a wide open green space. Henderson went to get it, decided not to, and then Klein hits it against the back of McNeil, and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick away to our right.
The thing is with Everton as well, you know, they're possessing the ball really well, but then they're just having no options in those final third areas. Their decision making has been really poor. Seamus Coleman picks up the ball there and he's having a go at the front line as if to say why they're not making that movement, but the movement wasn't even there, and he's played a ball into no man's land. So I think Everton, for all the possession they've had, they haven't really created many opportunities at all.
Well, Everton have been pretty good on the road recently. They've won 3 of their last 25 Premier League games at the beginning of this campaign, but they've won 5 of their last 8, so they've definitely had a bit of an upturn. I think the style of play lends itself to sort of counter-attacking, but they've had more of the ball tonight, which is maybe why they've made it more difficult for themselves. Calvert-Lewin delivers a cross into the box. He's too close to Klein. It's a poor header by him. Might fall back for Harrison kindly, who brings it down inside the area. He tries to push it forward. It's away by Anderson after a deflection from Mitchell. And again, the ball is released upfield, but Mateta can't get hold of it. No one can in blue. And it comes back again. Tarkowski trying to bend it into the box, looking with Danjuma. It's too close to the goalkeeper, who comes out, grabs it, and is able to clear. And it's 0-0 on Talk Sport. And we're here on this Thursday night. And tomorrow night we've got loads of football for you on Talk Sport and Talk Sport 2. Tottenham Burnley is on Talk Sport. We've got the Brentford game on Talk Sport 2. The weekend is wall-to-wall stacked with FA Cup action. And all our FA Cup coverage on TalkSport is brought to you with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. They've won a free kick. Crystal Palace, high inside the Everton half of the field. A couple of steps in from the left touch line. And it's not level with the edge of the 18-yard box, a little bit further back than that, but it's a good area for Eze to try and whip the ball in and for Palace to try and attack it.
Really good position for Eze here, ball in between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box with a lot of pace on it, can cause a lot of problems.
And the set-piece conversion hasn't been great this season, but we shall see whether or not that can change here tonight. Eze, almost by the touchline on this near side, steps up right-footed. It's an in-swinger, but it's deep to the far post, and it's Anderson who wins the header. Goalkeeper comes and punches, took control. It goes out to the right side. Lerma into Schlupp. Schlupp working onto his left foot, drives it against the body of Calvert-Lewin. It bounces out on the far side, and Lerma were allowed to go out for a Crystal Palace throw.
That's got to be too touch from Jeffrey Schlupp. The ball's come back out, the players are still in the box, just deliver it back into the box. I know it took, that Calvert-Lewin gets out really quickly, but you've got to put the ball into the area.
Crystal Palace fans doing their best to try and rev up the performance. Anderson's delivery into the box is high, and Mitchell can't get on the end of it to control it. It bounces off his toe and goes out for a goal kick away to our left. Does this game need a change?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm surprised that, you look at the Everton bench, players like Andre Gomez potentially could come into this game. But other than that, I'm not quite sure who could really be that difference maker within this game. I think Odsum Edouard maybe for Crystal Palace, and I mentioned Will Hughes before, offers something different, a bit more of an engine, linking Mateta to that midfield, because Crystal Palace right now, they need to put their foot on the ball as well. They're trying to go back to front, which I understand, but they need somebody that could just put their foot on the ball, get a few passes together to gain their confidence.
Ball sent down the right again. Mikalenko's got the beating for pace of França and just gave himself just a couple of yards just in case. Ball goes out of play and away for a goal kick. And we're getting pictures on our monitors here at the back of the press box of Mark Bright and Steve Parish, and even Mark Bright is sitting there shaking his head. He's not impressed. Crystal Palace legend.
I love Mark Bright, he's such a nice guy, top guy, but I think they saw themselves on the monitors as well, and then I love it when that happens. They're shaking their head and then they see themselves on the monitor.
Anderson finds Klein, he decides to charge upfield. França just in from the touchline on the halfway line, manages to squirt it out to Schlupp, and then Eze, no composure on the ball, flips it forward, just rushed it really and gave it away rather casually, and Everton have it back again. Palace pick it up halfway. Klein engaged in a battle with McNeil. It ricochets kindly for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's lost his headband, but he's charging into the box and he shoots right-footed with no power, no conviction and no confidence, and straight into the arms of Henderson, who then throws it straight out on the near side.
I'm lost for words, Sam, because I'm trying to find positives within this game, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin picks up that ball there and has to do better. It's perfect, coming in from that left-hand side on his right foot, and he just literally passes it into the hands of Dean Henderson. Really poor attempt, and as a centre-forward, you don't get many opportunities like that when you're running with no one going towards you. You've got to put it in the back of the net, or at least make the keeper make a good save.
Harrison down the left, getting to the byline. He hits it against Chris Richards, who had followed him in, and it's out for a corner. And they've got the joint most goals from set pieces this season, Everton, and I wonder whether or not that might be their best route tonight, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's had a couple of chances and he just hasn't looked confident in front of goal. 11 games without one.
He just needs one to go in for him, and once they go in, when you go through that type of drought as a centre forward, it's difficult, but you need any type of goal to go in, it doesn't matter.
It's crowded penalty box, almost everybody inside it as it's whipped in by Garner, right underneath the goalkeeper, and Mateta got there first and actually steered it over the top of his own crossbar.
That was quite fortunate, because I'm not quite sure, you see Mateta and Henderson having that conversation, but I'm not quite sure Mateta knew exactly where that was going at all.
Dwight McNeil wanders over towards this near side. He's got some elaborate signal with two arms up like NFL posts. And there's a little bit of a train going on the edge of the penalty area that's now burst into life, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the back post trying to attack it, but Richards gets up there and heads it behind. That's certainly a corner.
It looked like a corner to me
given
as
a goal
well.
kick, it's certainly a corner.
Yeah, I think that's a poor decision from the referee. You could see definite corner all day long, comes off of Richards' back.
I mean, that's frustrating for Sean Dyche, because they'd had Palace hemmed in 3 consecutive corners. You know, all of a sudden there's a little bit of panic in there. That's a poor decision.
But judging by how Crystal Palace haven't possessed the ball, they'll probably give it straight back to Everton within the first, 5-10 seconds. Am I wrong, though?
Nope.
Exactly. It's honestly, I love Crystal Palace. They're like, although I'm a United fan, they're my local team, so I always want them to do well, but the quality has been so poor from both teams, I think.
Paddy McCarthy, Ray Lewington and Roy Hodgson all standing inside the technical area, technically not allowed to do that, so he's going to get told off again in a minute. He's not going to be happy. But they're having a bit of a discussion. The Brains Trust trying to work out how to unlock this Everton defence. Ball sent forward by Mitchell in between Tarkowski and Brandpote was the idea, because that's where they were looking for Mateta. Mateta couldn't get hold of it. Lerma ends up in a collision with Tarkowski. The referee is allowed play on. The Palace fans aren't happy. He's down. They've looked to break here, Everton. Klein has sort of intervened and stopped them, the momentum, but Mikalenko has continued to come forward. He's up on the left edge of the area and he's ball into the box. He's shanked by Anderson over the top of his own crossbar. Lerma is back on his feet now and running back into position. And again, it is a corner for the away side. 0-0.
I think Anderson was quite lucky to see that going over the bar, because he never knew much about. I can see why the Palace fans thought that was a foul on Lerma, but seeing it again, it doesn't look like one at all. Just looks like a collision.
It was a good call by the referee.
Yeah, it was. But again, Everton need to put this ball. They've had so many corners, and they just haven't really made the most of their opportunities. If I was them, I'd be putting it right on Onana's head and in the back of the net. Easier said than done, but find him.
And Dwight McNeil's going to take it. The referee's got a bit of sorting out to do. It's behind the post as I look at it, so I'm just going to stretch behind you here. It's Garner, is it? And Mitchell at the far post. They're having a bit of a tangle. Free kick, corner kick on this near side to be taken by Dwight McNeil. Left-footed. It's a deep one towards the far post. Tarkowski gets the ball back across the face of goal, and Nana over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, Tarkowski does quite well there to get it back across goal, and again Onana kind of going backwards, wasn't really much conviction in it on goal, but again good from Tarkowski to get it back across, and Onana almost leaps up too high, gets up too early.
Yeah, he was sort of hanging and waiting for it in the end, wasn't he? Now the Crystal Palace fans again look to intensify the atmosphere inside this rickety old stadium, and especially on this main stand that we're in. A lot of it is patched up and repurposed. I know that there are plans going forward for parts of the stadium to be renovated. I just wonder whether or not maybe the Palace hierarchy need to communicate a little bit better with the supporters. Steve Parish and his American partners might have a grand plan from the outside, but I think one or two of the supporters believe, or sections of the support believe, there is a bit of a lack of ambition, especially when they see rivals Brighton charging into Europe and doing so well, and other teams having a little bit more about them. Brentford, another one who had a good season last season, and they're thinking, why can't that be us? The ground will be renovated. Little money was spent in the summer, and this, by his own admission, is a stopgap manager, and they're on the back foot here again. Down the left comes Harrison. His cross is deep. Coleman keeps it alive, but instead of waiting for it, Garner really should have tried to engage, but Lerma came across and cleared for Crystal Palace while he was waiting.
Everton are getting so many opportunities. It's almost like a crossing and finishing exercise at time. Brandtwaite's on the ball now, and then they ping it out wide, and then they get into opportunities. But in the final third, the balls just haven't been good enough.
Another ball into the boxes over the head of Calvert-Lewin. And I actually forgot that there was another half of the pitch for a moment, because all the ball has been inside Palace territory, and Everton have been the aggressors for most of the match, and certainly in this second half. Amadou Onana finds Garner down the right. He slides the ball to the edge of the 6-yard box. Gurhey was alert to it, and it's cleared away. There's just something lacking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't know whether it is because he doesn't trust his body, but he doesn't have the same aggression that he had before, when he would go up and win everything in the air and charge into people.
Yeah, he probably doesn't, Sam. I mean, he's been so unfortunate with injuries. I feel for him because for the best part of 2 seasons, he was more or less out. He'd come back in and get injured again, and then he had his cheekbone situation and he first came back. So I do feel for him. So it might take him a little bit of time, because that's what he's good at. His work rate is something that sets him apart from some players. He's never had the best quality necessarily, but he always works hard and gives his all for the team.
Good turn by McNeil, trying to get to the edge of the box now down the left side. Pokes across into the area. Goalkeeper comes out. Henderson punches it only as far as Garner, who's on the edge of the box. Turns it back in field. Onana has to weave away from Mateta, who came to engage. It's slipped out to the left, and it's controlled now by McNeil onto Mikalenko, who turns it against the shins of França and then has to go out and get the ricochet. It's collected once more on the far side by McNeil, and again they've just been repelled by Crystal Palace and kept away from the danger zone. Looks like Will Hughes is going to come on, and Naroui Hamada is about to come on, the former Stuttgart midfielder, to try and liven up the Crystal Palace performance, which has gone very flat.
It has gone flat, Sam, but what I will say, defensively, they have to be getting out. The ball's now in the opposition's half, and Gehi and Anderson have to be getting them up. They're sitting so deep and inviting pressure on.
Here they come again, Everton. More space to run into for Mikalenko. Lots of space on the near side for Coleman. They haven't spotted him. Harrison's gone for goal instead. And Coleman, who's screaming on this near side for someone to release him, is disappointed that the ball didn't come his way. It certainly was a disappointing effort from Jack Harrison. So here's confirmation of the changes. Matthias França is coming off, Will Hughes coming on, and Hamada also coming on.
I like these substitutions. I'm surprised they haven't come sooner. Maybe Edouard also isn't 100% fit yet, because I'd have also brought him into this game. But I like Will Hughes' energy. He offers something different in the Palace midfield that I don't think the others do. But they ultimately need to take better care of the ball and get higher up the field of play. I feel like they're sitting so deep, Crystal Palace. Yes, the quality hasn't been good, but they're inviting on the pressure so much.
Schlupp is off. So is França on Hamada and Will Hughes. And there's a problem here for Amadou Onana, which Everton have got to try and decide what to do with. We mentioned had a little bit of an issue earlier in the half. He's just getting a little drink from the physios down in front of us, and it remains 0-0. There was a slight discussion about whether or not there might have been a penalty for Crystal Palace when Branthwaite clipped Lerma inside the box. The VAR and the referee didn't see it, or certainly once the VAR did see it, they didn't ask for an official review.
I don't think it was a foul, Sam. Seeing that initially, I think even soft foul, but I think in the replay you can see wasn't really much in it at all.
Ray Lewington and Roy Hodgson having another discussion down in front of us about what potentially they could do in terms of shape to try and get a bit of control in the game. Hughes is on now in the middle of the park, and Hamada has gone out to the right-hand side. And Nana's still getting treatment on his thigh, I think, his left knee. It's certainly debilitating, but he wants to get back on. You can see he's eager. He's like, come on, let me get back on the field. He has to have 30 seconds off at least before he can go back on. They're using that time. They had a bit of ice out there as well, didn't they, to try and do something with it. I don't know exactly what it is they are doing, but they're manipulating it with something. There's a bit of gel on there. Anyway, he's ready to come back on now, and he's allowed to go on by the fourth official. Forward by Anderson, on the halfway line is McNeil. He wins it back. Stabbed forward by Klein. It goes out on the far touchline and away for a throw-in. It's Talk Sport. It's Thursday night. Tomorrow night, more FA Cup football for you on Talk Sport and Talk Sport 2. Saturday, we are wall-to-wall with football as well. And if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, we've got lots of content on there, including some of our podcasts. The Premier League All Access podcast is on there. Gives you a review of the first half of the season and a look ahead to the new campaign. We've got the boxing YouTube channel as well, where you can watch the latest episode of Talk Boxing with Simon and Spencer Oliver. There's all sorts of content available on our TalkSport YouTube channel. And Jeff Stelling back on breakfast Monday morning. Looking forward to that. Just don't bring the gravy. Here is Hamada running into a bit of trouble, giving the ball away. and then it repels kindly for Onana. He's got Calvert-Lewin in front of him. He feeds him on the edge of the box. He lost sight of it. Danjuma didn't. Drove the ball towards the goalkeeper, but it was straight at Henderson, and it was saved by the former Manchester United man. He quickly bowls it out up to Lerma on halfway. Eze couldn't take it in, and they've given it back to Everton again.
Yeah, I think in the end it was a decent save from Henderson, but it was always Danjuma didn't quite catch hold of it. Calvert-Lewin makes a nice little run, to be fair to him. They've been quite critical of him tonight, but I think Danjuma has to do better, and I think all of Everton's strikes have been literally right at Dean Henderson.
Will Hughes has just had a little nibble at Onana, who has gone down, and he wants a free kick. He's been given the free kick. But they are so sloppy in possession, Crystal Palace. It is frightening. It's almost like it's a bit of a hot potato, and they don't want to handle it for too long.
Yeah, it's probably the worst performance I've seen from Crystal Palace in a long time with regards to when they're in possession of the ball, and I think they just look like they've run out of a bit of steam.
It reminds me a little bit of the performance I saw at Old Trafford, where they played Manchester United, when Manchester United were in a proper hole in the League Cup. Do you remember that earlier in the season? They made a couple of changes. Manchester United ended up winning the game rather easy because Palace just didn't look bothered. I'm not saying they're not bothered, but they just look off the pace tonight, don't they? I don't know whether that's cup football and they know that it's not as intense as Premier League. Maybe they feel as if they've been working so hard in the Premier League that carrying it into this competition is becoming a little bit harder. Maybe things are just different when you know that it isn't the main competition that you play in. I don't know, but they haven't been very good tonight. Maybe they're just off it. Here's Lerma into Will Hughes, trying to set it back for Eze, but at this moment in time it's 0-0 and there still is all to play for. Ball sent long towards Calvert-Lewin, who does well to win it this time, and then he almost tackles his teammate, and then should have fed Danjuma down this right hand side but didn't, went left instead. McNeil keeps it alive, onto Harrison, trying to work a way through. They've got men back now, they've smothered the ball, Crystal Palace, and managed to shepherd it out towards the far side. But when Dominic Calvert-Lewin wins the ball, tackles his own teammate, gets up with it in possession, he needs to feed it quickly into Danjuma, who was running down the side of the box. He didn't do that, and the chance went. Yeah, the chance did go, but one thing I will say, at least he's putting himself about a little bit more than he was, during this game, and it was a weird one because he ends up almost colliding with Jack Harrison and bringing out the ball, but I have no idea why Everton are not creating more, just having more quality. I think you look at both of these squads, they're not the most stacked teams, are they, Sam? So if they would have rotated their squad tonight, you look at the Everton bench, there's not exactly bring on this player because they're definitely going to make an impact. I think VAR is checking a red card here because of the collision where Dominic Calvert-Lewin tackled his own teammate. He also left a little bit on Nathaniel Klein. He sort of, as he dived in, he took the ball off Harrison and he left his foot high to stroke the shin of Nathaniel Klein. Now his studs are showing and his foot is straight. I don't think there's that much contact, but they are checking for a possible red card for serious foul play. See, I don't think that's a red card, Sam. I don't think it is. I mean, again, we talk about common sense and everybody's interpretation of common sense is different, but I mean, I don't think that's a red card at all. He's obviously gone, he's tackled almost his own player. Yes, he does make a slight contact with Klein, but at the same time, if we're giving red cards for that, the game's gone mad, in my opinion. Well, Onana's coming over to the bench and he wants an energy gel. Beto is ready to come on. They are going over to check it at the monitor, which is bad news for Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I'm not having this at all, to be fair. I mean, I'm not having this as a red card, Sam. I'm sorry.
There's not exactly excessive force here, is there?
But you know that this is going to mean it's going to be a red every time they go over.
Possibility of endangering the safety of an opponent, that's what they will say, because his studs are up.
I don't think that's a red card. I'm seeing it over and over again, and he's not looking at the player. He's almost making a collision.
We must show the impact. I don't think there's much impact, is there?
No, it's not a red card. And he's going to give a red card because when they go over to the monitor 9 times out of 10, they give a red card.
Well, Seamus Coleman is watching it over his shoulder and he's saying, are you kidding me? There's no way that is a red card. Be interesting to see what the boys make of it on the sports bar later on. When the decision is made, you'll be able to react. Chris Cavanagh has watched it. He's walking over towards this near side. He says the signal for a red card. and he sends off Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Absolute joke. Sorry, I think it's a joke. I really do. I don't think that's a red card at all. At all. And none of the players out there think it was either. Look at them. Look at the reaction of the players. They don't even know what to do. It's a joke.
Well, I think they've just shown it on the monitor and confirmed the red card. Hold on a second. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is walking over towards this near side. I think he's going to go off the field of play. He hasn't gone off the field of play yet. He's slowly walking to the tunnel, away to the corner. Well, Everton fans are furious. I can't see the big monitor above us, but I think they've shown it on there, and the Everton fans have gone mad.
And they're also not supposed to do that, so I've no idea why they're showing that in the stadium if that's what's happened, Sam. They're not allowed to show stuff like that within the stadium. But that's not a red card at all, sorry. And I feel for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I really do, because he can't seem to buy any type of luck. He hasn't had his best game, we know that, but players that get injured like that, no player likes to be, injured. It's not a choice when you get injured or not. Just ask Reece James. It's difficult to come back from injuries. But what I will say is that is not a red card. Some people might disagree, but I just don't think that's a red card at all. And I feel for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't think anybody here thinks it was a red card. Surely, Sam, do you think it's a red card?
No. I know Dan Juma has been replaced by Beto. And, Crystal Palace have got more of a chance now, haven't they?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just lost for words. I just don't think that's a red at all, but we'll have to get on with the game. I think, obviously, it hasn't been the best game, but maybe...
There's some people here in the press box who think it might be a red. I don't know. I don't even know. I think it needs to be... If you're going to give a red card, it needs to be... I understand the flexing of the foot and the fact that the studs are showing. He's in danger of causing himself a problem with the VAR, the way things are at this moment in time. But I just didn't think there was enough force.
It wasn't malicious. I don't know, the more you watch it, I just don't think it is. And when you slow everything down, it always seems a lot worse. That's why I don't like it when they do that, because then it makes it look really, really bad. But I just don't think that's a red at all.
He's sent off and they're down to 10 men, and Crystal Palace now will feel as if they've got the advantage that they must take, because they're playing an Everton side down to 10 men and having to defend a corner over on the far side, which Eze is going to take, and they'll drift it into the near post. We've only got 9 minutes left, although we've probably got another 9 minutes to be added on for the length of the VAR check. After being told off for having 3 men in the box, the ball has been sent in towards the near post towards Lerma, poorly. It comes back to Hamada, whose effort was flashing past the post. I was about to say, after being told off for having 3 people inside the technical area, Roy Hodgson had 6 then, and the assistant didn't say anything about it. And then the corner came in, and Hamada sent that ball towards the far post, and it was veering away from the moment it hit his boot. Anyway, I don't think there's any maliciousness in that challenge from Dominic Calvert-Lewin for what it's worth. And I think if we're sending people off for stuff like that, like if we send people off for the 2 yellow cards that Jordan Ayew got sent off here for in the last game that I was here at Selhurst Park for, then we're going to be in a situation where people are getting far too many red cards, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a joke. I really think it's an absolute joke, and we've seen some really poor decisions from the referees this year, but I just look at the reaction from the players, and all of them couldn't quite believe it was even given.
Ozo and Odsonne Edouard are about to come on for Crystal Palace.
This is a good substitution, I think. Edouard, I've been quite critical of him as well. I don't think he scores enough goals. He's been there now for a couple of seasons, and same with Mateta. I think Crystal Palace, if they were to get a number 9 that is guaranteed to be getting in double figures each season, it will make their lives a lot easier, because going even back to Benteke, he did score goals, and that's what you're always going to be judged on. They have so many good players all over the field of play, but in that number 9 role, I just don't think they have a good enough centre forward.
Crikey. This is how bad it's got. The referees are ruining bad games now. Here is Mitchell on the near side, given away to Onana. Beto's come on for Janjuma, gets to the edge of the box, steers it towards Garner, and he's air kicked it. Oh dear, he's got right underneath it and elevated it straight up into the air, and he really had a great chance to put Everton in front. Change being made, Lerma is off, Odsonne Edouard comes on.
To be fair to Ghana, it was a little bit behind him, but he still has to be doing better there. It was good play from Beto, just puts the ball into that area, and again, Sean Dyche is looking at his men going, you know, come on, we need a little bit more, because he probably can't quite believe the ball hasn't gone in the back of the net himself.
I'm actually really frustrated about that red card, because I think it causes a problem for the rest of the game. Ozo's about to come on, but they can't get the board working, so they've waved over Nathaniel Klein, and he eventually is going to come over towards this near touchline. It looks like Chris Richards is going to go and play it right back. Ozo's going to come into midfield, and young David Ozo not started for Palace. It's his first experience of the FA Cup. He was born in Valencia to Nigerian parents, brought up in Croydon, and is an England under-20 international.
Yeah, he did all right when he came on against Brighton as well. He came on in the latter parts of the game as well when we did it here live. But I think, you know, they're throwing everything at it, Crystal Palace now. Roy Hodgson knows the performance hasn't been good enough, but now they're down, Everton are down to 10 men. Now, you know, maybe they can capitalise on that.
I hope it's a replay, and I hope that they look at that red card and overturn it. They won't, but, you know. Ball sent wide towards the left. It's headed away by Coleman in the right fullback position, and it's out of play on the near side. Here is Gay, and we've got only 5 minutes to go plus stoppage time, and here is Anderson into Odsonne-Edouard, who's the top scorer for Crystal Palace this season with 7 goals this campaign. There's not many others that have got them. There's a lot of zeros on my sheet. As Eze goes forward, he's got a couple, tries to shoot. It's blocked by Seamus Coleman, who does well, puts his body on the line. It's blocked, it goes behind and away for another corner.
Absolutely brilliant first touch from Eze. It's the first time we've seen Anderson play that diagonal ball, and he plucks it out sky.
And that one went straight in towards the near post, and there's a problem here for Dwight McNeil, who went to try and defend it, and he's gone straight out of play and into the advertising hoardings. They tried to catch them out with a quick corner kick, and he's actually really hurt himself, I think, Dwight McNeil. The ball went into the near post. Players collided as they tried to get on the end of it, and he really hurt himself. And there's going to be a yellow card here. Who did he give that yellow card to?
Looks like it was to Seamus Coleman, potentially.
For arguing, I think. Tarkowski was there as well. I think it was Mateta who collided with McNeil. But the thing is that it happened so quickly, the cameras didn't catch it. It could be Mateta that's got the yellow card, because Chris Kavanagh is speaking to him. He wasn't very demonstrative in the way he executed it.
Yeah, this is a weird one, because I was already still talking about the Eze bringing the ball out of the air, and then the next thing in the blink of an eye, the ball goes into the box, and then Dwight McNeil starts signalling like he's really badly injured. It doesn't look good at all. He's got his shirt over his head now.
And they look to be strapping him up. It looks as if they're going to put him on a stretcher. He's behind the goal, so he's out of play, and they're getting Andre Gomez ready quickly to get him on the pitch to stiffen up, because at the moment they're down to 9 men, because they've got no Calvert-Lewin. He's been sent off, and he's having his sock cut off behind the goal away to our left. It's a nasty looking injury, and we do wish him the very best. Gay picks it up on halfway, sending it wide towards the right. Andre Gomez is stripped and ready for action now as they take the ball down the right side with Odsonne-Edouard leaving it for Ahamada. Back to Ahamada from Richards. Ahamada to the halfway line. And now it's with Anderson. 2.5 minutes to go. Probably best to get it forward if you're Crystal Palace. They do eventually funnel it forward through Anderson towards Eze. Steered away by Coleman. Played against Mitchell by Harrison, who eventually smuggles it to halfway. Beto brings it down, turns, tries to put it forward, succeeds. That was a foul. And it's going to be a free kick to Palace short of the halfway line.
I mean, in that instant, they were down to 9 players, Everton, because obviously Dwight McNeil's off and Andre Gomez is about to come on, and Crystal Palace still could have possessed the ball and create an opportunity. Beto does really well there to come away with the ball.
Off comes McNeil, obviously. He's already behind the goal away to our left, still receiving treatment. The stretcher is out and they're slowly dealing with that situation. And Andre Gomez comes on, and he's actually made quite an impact since coming back. He scored on his first appearance back after about 18 months away. It was his first appearance since 2022 in May of that year. He went on loan to Lille last year. He's back and being used once again. And just getting our first replay of the incident of that situation involving McNeil. We're still no clearer to finding out what happened, because he actually ran out of shot. As I said, the ball went into the near post. A lot of players went to try and attack it. Mateta, Branthwaite and McNeil, but McNeil ended up going into the advertising hoardings, which are just behind the goal line away to our left-hand side, and he now is being stretchered off behind the goal away to our left. The game has been stopped, and I'm not entirely sure why. The referee has stopped the game so that they can finish patching him up behind the goal and getting him onto the stretcher. I mean, that signals to me that the injury is that bad. His leg is in a splint behind the goal, and they just don't want to cause any further grief to him by the possibility of him being struck by the ball. Or the problem is that the run-off area behind the goal line there is so close. I think
it is quite a strange situation, because we've seen it loads of times now and you still can't quite see what's gone on there with Branthwaite, and it looks like he's just collided. I'm sure we'll see after exactly what has gone on, but I fear for him.
9 minutes of added time at the end of the 90. Ball sent long now as we get back underway, and Harrison smashes it over the top of the crossbar. Up the ball went in initially towards the 18-yard box, headed down by Anana, and then Harrison's follow-up just rifled over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, no composure from Jack Harrison in that situation at all. Ball just goes sailing over.
Steve Stone's gone out just to check on the progress of McNeil away to our left-hand side. He's walking down the touchline with him. I think they might go out, and possibly, if they're going out that door down in the corner, it suggests he might end up having to go off to hospital. I do hope he's okay. Here's Eze trying to take the ball out of the sky. Goes down again after he was told off for diving in the first half, Eze. A little bit too cheap with his movements there, and we're back underway. Gurhey into Eze once again, pokes it to the left. Ozo then overhits the ball, but Mitchell scrambling to keep it in, can't do so. He almost runs into a bit of trouble behind the goal as well, and it's a goal kick away to our left-hand side. Even the Palace supporters now standing to applaud as McNeil comes down the touchline on the stretcher, being marshalled by the St John's ambulance staff that are taking him down the touchline. A sad state of affairs, and we wish him all the best. Sean Dyche trying to concentrate on the match, trying to rev up his team. Ball sent long by Virginia up towards Beto. Collected by Anana. Still Everton looking the more purposeful as they come forward up to Beto, away by Anderson. They're down to 10 men because of Calvert-Lewin sending off. And, I wonder whether or not there will come a point where players actually stop trying to go in for challenges like that, because they are so fearful of the fact that a red card could come their way.
Yeah, I think it's changing.
You're saying that's the point, but actually winning the ball back in that area, if he hadn't have done that, they wouldn't have freshened the chance, and that's the problem, isn't it?
It is.
It is a contact sport after all. I know we've got to protect players and we don't want them to get injured, but at the same time we still want to retain the essence of it, don't we?
Yeah, and football's changed because of that as well, and I don't think it's changed for the better. Bringing in VAR was supposed to make the game better, and I just don't think it has at all.
Eze to take the free kick which has been given to Palace, sending it towards the far post. Richards heads it down. It's hooked away by Harrison as they try and escape upfield. This game's going to a replay, 0-0, unless there's a final twist in the tail. 93 minutes on the clock. The ball sent wide to Eze. Eze cuts in past Garner, who slips to the floor and then runs into Andre Gomez, who repels the danger. And Andre Gomez tried to handle it, but it bounced over his head. Mitchell sends a cross in, deflected behind by Garner, and it's away for a Crystal Palace set piece in the 94th minute of the game.
good delivery here can cause a lot of problems. I want to see Eze put it in the danger area, not overhit it, not underhit it, just put it right where it hurts.
Well, Roy Hodgson will complain that he's had a lot of VAR decisions go against him, so if he benefits from one every now and again, then that's evening things up. Eze, deep towards the far post, headed by Anderson, drops on the edge of the box. Hamada gets there, sends it wide. Odsonne Edouard recycles it. Good strong header by Tarkowski. Comes out towards Hughes, he misses it, and then it's brought away by Harrison to Gomez, and then back to Harrison, but before he can get there, Hamada gets there first, and then Gomez pinches it. It's given towards Garner, and Beto goes down the right side. Not going to keep it in. It's going to spin out of play, and it's away for a throw-in. It's been a scrappy, disjointed game of football, but neither really have imposed themselves on with any real quality. If anything, Everton have had more of the play and better chances. Garner has had the latest of those, which he's missed, but it's still 0-0. Here on the far side, Hamada trying to get into the box. A low ball which hits the shins of Mikalenko. It's out for another corner to Palace. Yeah,
they're certainly piling on the pressure now, Crystal Palace. There's 4+ minutes to go in this stoppage time. And again, you know, the quality hasn't been good, but it only takes one moment to score a goal.
Still total big chances. 0-0. Just checking. Corner on the far side. Whipped in towards the penalty spot, and Ozzo was there, and it's loose inside the 6-yard area. No one took charge of it. It was scrambled away by Anana and goes up to the halfway line. I like where he plays me. More games, better.
I don't.
I do.
I don't. I like more games, but I don't like. I want this. I'd like. Well, maybe not this game to go into extra time, but
I think the game's coming. Here is Anderson on halfway, playing it square. He's sent back to Richards, and then back to Anderson once again, down the left. There's always something to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about from this one as a result of that sending off. 03717223344. Jermaine Pennant and Jamie O'Hara will have a view on it. Beto trying to cause problems for Anderson. Oh, he has caused problems for Anderson, and then he's pulled to the floor. Surely his movement was impeded. Listen, if the Dominic Calvert-Lewin one is a foul, that's surely a foul, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a foul. I mean, he's got his arms all over him.
Here is Mitchell down the left. He was wrestling around his midriff and stopping his movement as he tried to spin him into the box. Hughes has got it inside the area at the other end. The ball pinballing around, and it's cleared.
The way I look at that one, Sam, is that if there's anywhere outside the box, that's a foul.
Well, the ball goes to the edge of the box. Beto gets hold of it. He puts his arms round his midriff. He looks to escape. His movement is impeded by Anderson. That has got to be a penalty.
Yeah, I think that's a penalty as well. And people can say it might be a soft one. It doesn't matter. And I don't really like the fact that it's almost like we're saying because that decision was given before, we have to give this decision now. No, it's a foul. He's got his arms round him. And if we want to be consistent, we have to give things like that. Yes, it might be soft, but that's why the managers, that's why fans are so frustrated, because the lack of consistency with the officiating.
Mitchell on the near side to Eze, who's about 6 steps back from the edge of the penalty area. He tucks it back into Gay, and we play 97 minutes of this football match, which is still no closer to a resolution. Back it goes to Anderson. Richards. If Crystal Palace are going to win this tie, this is their best chance. They've got to try and do something. Gay onto Eze. Eze out to the left. Odsonne Edouard picks it up, will send it into the centre. Eze with a chance to shoot. He does, down low towards the goalkeeper's left, and it's a fingertip save by João Virginia, who gets across very well and pokes it wide.
Absolutely brilliant strike from Eze. It looked like it might have been creeping in the inside of the post. Potentially he could have been going wide, but he catches it so well, and a good save from Virginia in the end.
Cross into the box has come from Eze. We're into the 98th minute. It's deep. It's headed away by Tarkowski and out on the far side. Here is Hamada back down the right. It's out of play and away for a throw-in.
I don't know why he didn't just go back to Dean Henderson. Yeah, it would have been a far place to go, but he could have played it back and he would have maintained possession.
Only seconds remaining. You've got to keep hold of the ball, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Just put it into the box, put it into the areas that really matter.
Well, Roy Hodgson will be in a better mood, I think, tonight. 0-0 and a replay to come. Everton's winter break, which Sean Dyche said he wanted cancelled anyway, is going to be cancelled. There you go. James Garner has just been penalised for tugging the shirt of Mitchell as he ran into the left full-back position. Was there more or less contact by Anderson on Beto?
It was the exact same, play completely, and again goes back to the lack of consistency, and it's a shame because this game has been poor, but obviously again I think there's obviously going to be human error. We know the referees are going to make mistakes, but the fact that the VAR has then gone and sent Calvert-Lewin off for that, I think it's going to be something we're going to speculate for a really, really long time.
Full-time whistle, listen to that. That's the boos of the Everton fans moaning about the fact that their player was sent off. It is a ripple of applause then afterwards from the Everton supporters who know that their team dug in. They were the better team over the course of the 90 minutes. They had the better of the chances, but they didn't take them, and actually their profligacy in front of goal has become a bit of a problem for them. Calvert-Lewin didn't look sharp enough. Garner missed the chance. There were other opportunities as well. Jack Harrison fired over the top of the crossbar, and there were a number of opportunities in the first half for Danjuma that they didn't quite take. Palace had a couple of skirmishes, but not much. Even with 10 men, Everton pretty much kept them at bay. Sean Dyche marches over to salute the Everton support that have made a tough journey on a tough night in South London. But Palace and Everton will go again to decide who goes through to round 4. Nothing to divide them at Selhurst Park in a game that didn't really live up to the previous meeting earlier in the season. There was a bit of controversy, and I'm sure that will be discussed, but it's finished. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0.